Willkommen! Das ist Desaster from Germany with their 9th album, Churches Without Saints. Now, this is a band that is mostly known for its black thrash thing, a band that has been going on since late 1980s. Even though it took quite a few years, that is, the band released their first album as late as 1996, the band has been here more than 30 years, and late few years, actually more than just late few years, the band has been going on with Metal Blade, and I guess it has been a satisfying collaboration considering that the band has been on the very same label for quite some time. Now, with 9th label, the band is showcasing a new drummer, but some of the members are quite old. Actually, one original member, then another one long-timer, and, well, even the vocalist has been in the band for some 20 years or so. So it's an interesting combination of both new and old school in terms of being Desaster. Now, like I said, the band has been mostly known for its black thrash metal throughout the years. However, that's not exactly how the band started in the 90s. Even though quite a bit sooner, the band kind of changed its styles. Let's go a little bit back into the history of the band. A Touch of Medieval Darkness, 1996. I remember it kind of being melodic, synth-driven even, black metal from the softer side. Not exactly raw, violent, aggressive, super dark, sinister and all that, but, you know, the kind of a middle path. Quite a nice album, to be honest, but in my opinion it was the Hellfire Dominion in 1998 that really, you know, made the band to a different level, because that was more aggressive, better songwriting, catchy and all, and that was, I guess, pretty much when the black thrash label started to stick on them. But definitely there was a little bit of a change going on, because it wasn't black thrash exactly in the beginning. Now, since Hellfire Dominion, the band has been pretty much going with their trashier parts, and every album here and there, every now and then, even though the pace has a little bit slowed down during past few years, the band has been adding their trashier parts both on stage and with the albums. Now, with Churches with Saints, this album with pretty cool cover art, mind you, is in fact in so many ways like going back to the basic, going back to their, you know, the first square of the table. Because the thing here is, it's not very trashy at all. I mean, there are parts that are definitely kind of a trash oriented, but then again, there are also kind of a mid-tempo parts with more about, you know, being melodic black metal versus just being very trashy. I mean, I would go as far as to say some half of the album has absolutely nothing to do with thrash metal, and even black thrash is a little bit of a so-so. So it's kind of like combining the elements from the very early years of Desaster, and then also having that kind of a trademark black thrash stuff here. And that takes you on a journey throughout some 46 minutes. It's also worth mentioning that this outro track, which is just mentioned as an outro and Aus Asche, has some softer parts, like, you know, whispered vocals and, you know, kind of a semi-acoustic guitars. So not exactly sounding very metal at all. Then again, it's just an outro. But that is just to point out that this is an album that is very diverse, all in styles. Then again, that really contributes to the very fact that it's not repeating itself. I mean, you have these trashier parts, which are more aggressive and more fast tempo, not super blasting, but, you know, more aggressive, compared to the more mid-tempo parts on this album, which are more melodic driven and kind of, you know, laid back in a way. And when I say laid back, that is in comparison to what the band is doing with, you know, faster and aggressive parts. Now, all in all, this is an album that kind of avoids all kind of extremities. That is, it's not super fast, not super slow, it's not super heavy, but then again, it's not like, you know, pop rock thing. So it's kind of avoiding all these extreme corners in so many ways and staying in the middle of this ball field, if you will. Sports, ball field, court, whatever. In my opinion, it is actually for the benefit of the album, because what this album, in my opinion, lacks compared to what I would say maybe the better Desaster albums, this kind of avoids also being very catchy. Now, to some people it might be a big sin to just not do that. But in my opinion, it's not that much of a big deal because overall the band has no weak moments on this album and it's overall pretty good. I think this diversity going from these mid-tempo parts to these trashier parts and then back and, you know, slowing down a little bit works in the favor of being more all around. And all around might be sounding a little bit weird when we're talking about something which is considered an extreme metal, but you know, as we know from the softer and more melodic and atmospheric side of black metal bands around the world, it's not necessarily a bad thing. And in my opinion, it is definitely not a bad thing with Desaster. They are just more like proving that they can stay true to their own roots and habits, but still have the diversity, which makes, then again, this album very much more versatile than so many other bands, which are not just basically repeating one or two songs throughout an album. And that's not what Churches Without Saints is doing. Now, when it comes to the production, that's a little bit dull. It's not really powerful, it's not sterile, it's not super clean, but it's lacking something. Power, maybe. It's not bad, by no means, but it's a little bit dull. Kind of good, but then again, could really benefit a little bit more power and energy and all that stuff. I mean, you get used to that really, really quickly, but somehow it just lacks the balls, if you will. Now, when it comes to vocalist, he surely doesn't lack the balls. I mean, there is a kind of a passion and power in his vocals, which is then again not your typical black metal shriekiness. It's in fact more towards kind of a growlier type. And people who are new to Desaster might find it a little bit weird because it's not shrieky and high-pitchy one, but more about like, power, barbaric power, into you know. And in my opinion, it fits the band well. It's been kind of a trademark thing for so many years. But in case you're looking for this kind of Bergamic screams or whatever, it might feel a little bit different, or at least take time to get used to that. But in my opinion, it fits well, and that's what's matter. That what matters here. That is, I'm gonna say. Overall, this is, in my opinion, pretty good an album, but it's not the best of Desaster. Then again, it's kind of hard for any band to, you know, compete with the earlier ones. I mean, we're kind of bound to do all the way this comparison. I mean, it's in a way better than, for example, their first album, but it's not in par with the best of what the band can really do. Only time will tell how this album will be ranked among the whole discography of the band. But give it a go. It's a good album and it's out on June 4th, so a couple more days, if you will, and you will find links to basic information regarding the band, and of course you will find this in your favorite streaming service once it's out. And in case you just prefer physical copy, this kind of digipack is out there as well as LP, so pick out the version you're most likely to listen to and enjoy with your friends. This comes with lyrics, as you probably already noted, so there you have it in case you want to take a look. This art totally deserves LP copy in my opinion, but whatever works for you the best, that's what counts. If you like the review, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it so far. Take care, have a good day, and enjoy new Desaster by the end of the week.